Former President Trump says he'll work with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to make America healthy again if he's elected, with a focus on improving the country's metabolic health. Watch.
Well, I know you're aware of Callie and Casey Means, right?
Yes.
Well, one of the things that they pointed out, and this is a very important thing for people to understand, is what a lot of these drugs do is they act to somehow or another mitigate the effects of poor metabolic health. But most of these problems that these people are suffering from wouldn't exist if we put an emphasis on metabolic health.
Here to discuss is TrueMed co-founder Callie Means. Boy, this is an exciting time, and I want to talk about what you expect to happen. But it's interesting. Last night, I was listening to Michelle Obama's speech, and she was criticizing Trump on COVID, and she said, America had the highest rate of death with COVID, and she blamed it on Trump. And I'm thinking, no, we also have the highest obesity rate. We have the highest comorbidities. Of course, they were going to be more susceptible, right?
We're the sickest country in the world.
Yes.
We have the highest rates of diabetes, obesity, depression. It's not even close. We die 6 years earlier than the Italians, and we're not lazier than the Italians. There's something wrong with our systems. And I can't help but think, what's going to happen at Madison Square Garden today. You've got Robert F. Kennedy, you've got Elon Musk, you've got Tulsi Gabbard. These people are putting themselves on the line because this election with President Trump is about big existential issues. Meanwhile, you have Bill Gates and Reid Hoffman funding Kamala privately hundreds of millions of dollars because they want the Epstein tapes withheld.
Right.
This Trump should be congratulated by all sides for bringing together this unique coalition. When it comes to health, my formulation is that the foundation of Trump's candidacy is taking on the swamp, is taking on corruption. And there's no greater example of the corruption that's bringing down our country than health. Why are kids being poisoned and then drugged for profit? Why is 70% of our kids die at ultra-processed food, and then 40% of teens are on a pharmaceutical? These are big,
that is the most astounding number.
Questions.
And it's so true.
And, what's happening with RFK and what happened when he stood out there with Trump and they said, make America healthy again, it's not left versus right anymore. It's corruption versus the American people. And there's one side calling these out. This is a corruption that's been in place for decades. And finally, a candidate is giving an optimistic message that we can fix this very quickly. And I think
how can it be fixed, Callie? Because I believe that Trump is going to unleash. It was funny at the Al Smith dinner. He said, "I'm going to unleash him. I might have to rein him back a little bit, but he's going to unleash him on this." I have to believe that right now the lobbyists are girding themselves. What do you think you'll face? Because the swamp is real.
I think month after President Trump wins is going to be the most important month in American history because there's trillions and trillions of dollars at stake if President Trump does what he says he's going to do. And he said on Joe Rogan that there's a lot of pressure against him, and he's telling them absolutely not. He's going to appoint reformers. So what can you do? It's difficult, but it's very simple. When it comes to health, just fundamentally, an industry, pharma, that profits from when we're sick, just demonstrably, has bought off many of our institutions of trust. They fund 75% of the FDA's budget. They're the largest funder of research. They're the largest funder of civil rights groups, saying it's racist not to prescribe Ozempic to 6-year-olds. Literally, that's what the NAACP is saying. They've been able to co-opt our institution of trust, just like the military-industrial complex has been able to co-opt that institution. The educational-industrial complex, the teachers' union, is making our country less competitive. These big industrial complexes, and health is the largest, are bringing down our country. And it starts with getting conflicts out of the system, giving the American people the truth, real scientific guidelines, and then letting them make decisions, getting rid of the mandates and spurring up flexibility. It's talked about HSA fund expansion, just letting American patients choose with their doctor where their funds go, instead of this top-down system that when your kid's sick, they're getting a drug. They're not getting holistic advice from their doctor, from corruption.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And I think that you're right. It's about putting reformers in. It's about transparency. You think that this can happen pretty quickly?
I think and we're working on this, and I think this is really what undecided voters should know about President Trump. He is genuinely, I saw it. He spent hours talking to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., truly learning about this issue, asking what policies. We're working with the transition team, and we're preparing really bold policies for President Trump. He's asking for them. He's asking for them on every single institution that impact our trust. Yes, it can happen quickly. We have the ability of Americans. As Joe Rogan said, we're spending $200 billion giving it to Ukraine. We can unpoison our food.
Yeah.
We can get corruption out of our institutions. We can create a thriving environment for our kids very, very quickly. It just takes clear-eyed leadership.
And I do believe this is the most bipartisan issue in America. I think everyone wants it. And Callie Means, you've been at the forefront of this and a real hero in it. And I really hope you get in there and clean it up.
Thank you, Rachel. It can happen quickly.
Awesome.